This is the Retro Inc. podcast. Welcome back.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Retro Inc. podcast with me, Andy, and my co-host J-Dog and the Sheldinator.
Welcome. Hi, mate. How are you?
I'm good, mate. Thank you.
Fantastic. Hello.
Jeremy, meet Adam. Adam, meet Jeremy.
I believe we've already met today.
Yes. We had a lovely lunch, didn't we?
Yeah.
Little retro kiddie meet-up.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay, we'll leave that comment there. Yeah, we had a nice day out.
And our children, we should add.
We did have a nice day out with the kids. Yeah, mate, isn't it an awesome thing to go into a store other than Blockbuster, because we lost those kind of stores, but and going to places like HMV and have a good old hunt through those shelves. Those TV box sets and TV series on DVD, just excited, aren't they, when you're looking through, picking out some great stuff.
I think we could have spent even longer in there than the hours that we were in there. We could have spent ages in there perusing, even just going through the TV shows and saying which ones we loved and we just didn't get.
You was going to spend time walking around there being South American?
What?
Peruvian?
Well, I tell you what, mate, there is a time...
I referred you with a hangover.
Say, there's a time when the hangover worked. So, what we got going on this week in retro and gaming and news?
Well, what I was going to ask first question was, what have we watched? What have you watched? What have you played? What have you done?
Starting with myself or Jeremiah?
Yeah, you go first. I'm trying to think.
Look how polite they are. This is lovely.
Oh, well, we had Halloween. I do hope our listeners enjoyed and had a very safe Halloween. Yeah, I got cracking on some horrors, and they were all sci-fi, so nothing slashery. I did try to watch Halloween itself, didn't make it very far, to be honest. I don't think I made more than about 10-15 minutes, and I just didn't feel comfortable on my own watching it. I am an absolute scaredy cat. So I went through my sci-fi horror movies. I watched The Thing again. And then I watched Prometheus and Alien Covenant, and then went on to Alien, and that was my film I watched about sort of 10 o'clock at night. I tried to watch a couple more of the House on Haunted Hill, or the Haunted House on the Hill, whatever it's called. Made it another episode. But yeah, I do find that very creepy indeed. So yeah, I went sci-fi horror for Halloween. And Andy, what did you catch up with anything? Oh, I watched Enter the Dragon this week as well, which I needed to rewatch because.
Sorry. On that note, I mean, I was going to mention it, and then I didn't know whether to because it just literally dropped. But you said Enter the Dragon. Now, the guy, I'm just trying to find it because I think you might find this slightly sad. Yes, but Hong Kong's martial art mogul Raymond Chow just recently passed away today, so age 91, and he was the gentleman who discovered Bruce Lee.
It was a fair old age.
Yeah. He stopped producing movies. I think it was in 2007. So really? Yeah, I mean the guy was 91. So I mean, yeah, fair play to him. But he did a lot with Jackie Chan as well.
Summer. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So you know, thoughts go out to him and his family. But yeah. So what else, mate? Is that it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I mean, I tend to sort of watch Star Wars at least once a week.
Something Star Wars-esque, yeah. I'm with you.
Always. So I think it was Jedi. I think I watched Return of the Jedi this week as well.
Does it count? Because I didn't actually watch Star Wars this week, but I did watch Spaceballs. I mean, that's canon, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose it kind of is.
Yeah.
So we had a little chat, didn't we, earlier in the week? I think it was the Friday night, wasn't it? And you were asking me what perhaps you wanted to watch. You gave me some genres. I went for a heap of stuff.
Was that you? Because I thought it was a random film generator bot that I had on my phone.
That was funny. Yeah, and nothing I suggested you watched. You just said, I'm
No,
gonna watch
because that was the thing. You actually helped, because that's what I said to you at the time. It's not that your choices were wrong. They actually swayed my decision into what I wanted to watch by telling me what I didn't want to watch. If you get my point. Yeah, you threw so many films at me.
Some reverse psychology.
Like, yeah, it was. And then I was like, no, I just want silly, stupid fun, and that's when Spaceballs went on. Which, to be fair, I only made about 45 minutes in before I woke up at 6 o'clock on my sofa going, what the hell's just happened? But
did you dream of short people with large helmets?
Yeah, I've chose that my next cosplay I do is going to be Bath.
Yeah, that's a goodie.
Yeah.
You, I mean, when you suggest things like, stupid, silly fun and a TV series and you're kind of thinking sort of retro, Bottom and the Young Ones, and we come up with some stuff, and just think, God, they were amazing. The Trip with Steve Coogan and Rob Brydon came up. The Detectorist, which is an incredible TV show, that's definitely worth a watch. But Spaceballs, man.
Yeah, that was a shame.
Yeah,
you said Detectorist, and I went on Netflix to watch it, and was it only season 2 they had?
Yeah, it's just season 1 seems to have dropped off their
so
list.
Handy.
Yeah. Jeremy,
hello.
This week, certainly I know, Halloween. You do like the odd horror film, don't you, mate?
Well,
he asked me what I watched, and he don't let me say anything. I just say one thing. It's not the only thing I've watched this week. That's right. You carry on, Jeremy. That's fine.
Andrew, what else have you watched other than Spaceballs?
No, Jeremy.
Don't worry too much.
You're breaking up there, Jeremy. I've watched a couple of things this week, mate. I've watched. Today we had a bit of a family day, family movie day, and I watched Harry and the Hendersons and Jumanji. So talk about retro silly good fun. And I tell you what, Harry and the Hendersons is one of those that passes the test of time. You know, the ones that you remember fondly, but you watch again and you think, actually, that's not that great. It's still got it. It's a really, really fun film. I haven't seen it probably in at least 25 years. But yeah, I really enjoyed that. My daughter did too. The other thing,
give us some of them that are in that, and tell us some of the cast. Tell us some of the cast that's in Harry and the Hendersons.
And John Lithgow is the main character, but the Harry is actually played by Kevin Peter Hall.
Yeah, the Predator.
Yeah. I was reading about him today. Actually, a very sad story, that isn't it? He died at age 35 from a blood transfusion. He contracted AIDS, and what a time. But yeah, the other thing I've watched this week is what you just asked me a minute ago. Was what I did on Halloween, and that was Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Now, this is the new series on Netflix.
Or what is it called? It's I can't remember what it's actually, because it's not Sabrina the Teenage Witch anymore. But yeah, Sabrina. I've been watching that on Netflix, and I have to say, aside from absolutely falling in love with with Sabrina, the actress, it is really enjoyable. It is a million miles away from the original series. I mean, in the first episode alone, she uses her powers. This guy is scared of spiders, and she makes about 1 million appear in his house and attack him. So, and it's quite dark. There's some moments in there of witchcraft.
I must admit, I sat down with Alana, my little girl. She's nearly 11. And I was like, oh, Sabrina, that must be like the old TV program. And I put it on, and about a minute in, I was like, no, we'll turn that off.
Yeah, it's definitely
not for 11-year-olds.
I think, to be honest with you, it's really clever, because I think it's aimed at people like me and my wife, who grew up in that time when Sabrina was popular when we were kids. So now we're latching onto it now as adults and enjoying this as what this is. And I mean, given the fact that it's based on the Archie comics anyway, it's rife for being able to be adapted in many different ways. So I'm really enjoying it. Kiernan, the young lady I sent you,
it should be quite gripping, because it's a 15th certificate, isn't it?
It is, and it's well deserved, that 15th certificate, to be honest with you, mate. It's
also, a little bird tells me that at some point during the season, there's a discussion about running zombies and walking zombies, and it's clarified. That's what I've been told.
There is indeed a discussion about that in the series. When it came on, I laughed and I thought some people are just so pathetic, aren't they?
Well,
These people who make the Netflix series don't know what they're talking about, do they?
No, I've never disagreed with you on that. I'm not the one who gets
every time I mentioned it, you have.
So, caught up and pent up about it, and angry about the argument. I'm just like, yeah, whatever. They're all zombies. It's just running ones are better.
No, they're not all zombies, because the ones in 28 Days Later are not.
But are we talking traditional mythological zombies from, say, what, African culture?
The ones in Haiti are not exactly running, are they?
No, I know, but they're different to the ones that you're. I'm not getting into this argument about zombies.
Jeremy.
Anyway,
what did you watch on
Sabrina.
What did you watch on Halloween?
I don't think I watched. I don't remember watching any horrors this week, other than the Journeys on the N2. I rewatched The Force Awakens because that's just one of my go-tos, and I watched Jurassic World again, and I'm still watching Kimmy Schmidt. But other than that, I've had such a busy week at work. I've not really had time to do anything like that, which is a shame.
Yeah.
And when I saw the children, they've just talked about children things. Who would win in a fight between Freddie and Jason, and
is that two kids in the school playground? It's a wrong school they go to.
Well, my son is Freddie, and he's got Michael Jason. I imagine. No, it's just lots of stuff like that. My little boy's just massively into horror icons. He's never seen a horror movie in his life if you don't include Alien. The slasher movies, the Leatherface and Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees. He's suddenly got this interest in those. Like today, we were looking at all the figures of them, and I've just had hours and hour conversations of would Freddy Krueger be able to beat a predator, and that kind of stuff. Which obviously he would if the predator fell asleep, but
Well, everyone's got to sleep sometime. We discussed that last week.
Exactly. That's why it's the ultimate.
Oh, well, the predator, sorry. Yeah.
Well, one of the things we promised on our Facebook group page, and members of that group, thank you for your comments, was that we were going to be reading out the answers and comments when we were asked you what your favourite horror films were. And the first person was Rick, who shouted out that it was a little shocking to hear his name called out on the episode, and it's always a delight to get a comment from you, mate. And he's got to say that The Shining and The Poltergeist were his two favourites. And they both came out when he was young, and they left an incredible mark on him. Much later on, he read King's novel, and that messed with his head a little bit too. Jeremy, you just said that movies that scared us as kids are the ones that we gravitate towards. And to name just one, that was a tough choice to make. So you never actually made your choice there.
Well, I think the movie that scared me most of all as a kid is a terrible movie that no one should watch.
Yeah.
It was The Legend of Boggy Creek.
That
terrified me. Yeah.
Mr. Rob Reid from Talk Star Wars. Hi, Rob. He said, including Event Horizon, he'd probably go for The Thing. Both great choices, man. We love those films. Brad, he popped in with Aliens. Mr. Smith, you also popped your choice in there.
Should I put Casper, wasn't it?
It was Casper the Ghost, obviously. What else did we have? We had.
What was my choice? I can't remember.
Your ultimate choice was for Scream, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Yeah. Brad also sort of mentioned whether we thought Terminator would be in that choice of horror films, because it is pretty terrifying.
No, it's sci-fi.
I think when it was first marketed, it was marketed as a bit of a nasty and a bit of a horror.
That's right. Yeah.
It was.
But things change, I think, don't they?
Because you nearly say Schwarzenegger's man-dong. Is that why?
Ian, mate, thank you very much again, Mr. Anderson, for popping your comments. It is a good film, he said, and lacks the real feel of Alien or indeed the latest films. James Cameron is a really odd director. He loves most of his films that he made. Titanic, he doesn't know how to deal with that one. But he's never forgiven him for Titanic. which I think is a good shout there.
Well,
He says
okay.
Alien is his ultimate dark sci-fi and horror. Space has the feeling of complete isolation that most horrors cannot compete with. And what is more, you hardly see the alien itself within that film, which makes it even more terrifying, and he just loves it. And I totally agree with him. One of the great things about Blair Witch is you never see the witch. Great thing about Alien is you very rarely really see the alien itself. And I think that's what is quite terrifying, is actually the sort of the suspense of a movie like that. And that's why it kind of hits the high notes for a lot of horror fans, is when you don't actually really see what it is that scares the living jeebies out of you.
I completely agree with you, Adam. I'm shaking my head at Jeremy. How far away drive are you? About 20 minutes, isn't it?
Yeah, something like that.
That's good enough. That's good enough. That's enough time for me to run. Come at me, bro. All right, I'll fight you on this.
We've had some comments, Andy, as well, haven't we?
Yeah, we I like this one. This is on Podbean, and this is from Soulfire UK. This is, just so Mark isn't all alone, I will post some comments on here too. Cheers for the mention. Still working my way through this one. Honestly, Andy, you miss out if you don't explore the subtitled films. I have explored them. I just want to make that clear. I have explored them. I just can't get on with them. It's you know, often removing English means you actually watch the film properly. You cannot switch your brain off. I know why people struggle, though. I do too, but I push past. Let the Right One In, for example, is an absolute gem of a film.
Yes, it is.
Snowy Sweden's relative bleakness is used so beautifully, and the depth of the child characters is moving. The US version, Let Me In, is not really a patch on it, but still isn't bad, as the young stars are both really strong. That is true and true. I have listened to the audio book of Let the Right One In.
Yeah, and I would say if you're gonna pick one out, if you're not really into them, go for Train to Busan. Just go for that. Good zombie movie. You don't really need the subtitles.
Well, that's the thing. To be honest with you, something like that I'll probably be able to get on with, because the story's not really that integral to what you want to see. You want to see gore and zombies on a train and mayhem, and that's fine. It's when you're talking about things like The Grudge and that, I get pulled out of the suspense, because I'm not seeing those small little nuances on the screen. You know, the little things they do with the camera tricks, because I'm reading the bottom bit, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
I confessed this week that I will watch all of my movies on DVD with the subtitles on, English, foreign, all of them, just so I don't miss anything.
I kind of get that for a film I've watched, because I watch a lot of films late at night. I'm a night owl, especially lately. I've bouts of insomnia. I've been going to bed last night. I went to bed at 5 o'clock. Well, this morning, because I just can't sleep. And I'm watching films late, and my bedroom's just above the downstairs. And the amount of times my wife texts me at like 11 o'clock saying, "Can you turn it down a bit, please?" because she can hear it. It doesn't matter how low I get that. You can still hear the explosions, but I can't hear the talking. So sometimes with films I do know, I put the subtitles on, because it's not so important for me. I can just pick it up when and where I'm watching it. So I kind of get what you're saying there about missing stuff. News this week, we've got the unfortunate news that Mario Segal, the man who Mario was named, Super Mario was named, passed away at age 84.
Wow.
Yeah, he was a Italian-American property developer that lived in Washington, and he leased a warehouse to Nintendo, and that's where they got the name from, in honor of him doing that. And their first major character, they went and named Mario after Mario Segal. So what a claim to fame,
wasn't it?
Yeah.
This is something I talked about with the kids earlier, wasn't it, as it happened? If they're the Mario brothers, Mario and Luigi, is he Mario?
Well, they take the mick out of that in the Mario Brothers film, don't they?
I don't know. I've not seen it.
Yeah, because you're not seeing it. It's terrible. It's one of my real guilty pleasures. I love that film, and I shouldn't, and I know people hate it, and I understand why, because it's not Mario Brothers. But as a film where, if you know the backstory, that the two of them hated it, most of the time they are loaded while they are filming those scenes. Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo, apparently they were just doing shots in their trailers before they went on, because they couldn't bear to film it. And yeah, it's just silly good fun. But they do take the mick out of that. He goes Mario with the Mario Brothers, and someone goes, "What?" So he goes, "No, he's Mario. I'm Luigi Mario." So they do kind of reference that. But yes, still unclear, because I don't think that's canon anymore either.
So
in the
this
Mario timeline.
wonderful gentleman, who the character was named after.
Yes.
Do you think he got a decent wedge over his period, or over his lifetime from the credits?
Probably not, to be honest with you, mate. I think this was just done more out of
Sort of
there is
respect.
there is actually a quote from him. I've just seen it, in here, and he joked in apparently '93 to the Seattle Times that he was still waiting for his royalty check. So there you go. There's confirmation he did not get paid.
Right. Yeah.
Yes. But I don't think you would. I think the honour alone, tell everyone, your grandkids, oh yeah, he's named after me.
I wonder if he had the moustache.
Well, no, because he was Jumpman already, wasn't he?
Ah.
They renamed Jumpman from Donkey Kong to Mario when he became a plumber. He had a career change, name change. I think he was under witness protection after the Donkey Kong incident.
That incident.
Yeah,
Indeed.
a lot of people died that day.
Indeed.
Right, and on to the next news.
Yes.
This is something. And I wanted to talk about this because I think this is quite cheeky in some respects. And that's did you see about Red Dead Redemption? And it has the largest opening weekend of any entertainment property in history. It sold, right, in its opening weekend. How much do you reckon?
At least 17 people bought it, I think.
At least 17.
Well,
Yeah.
I know somebody who queued for 4 hours in game to wait for the game. I would say
18 people.
I would say that it took $222 million.
Yeah, probably in its first hour, because over the opening weekend, the largest entertainment property, so that's film, TV, music, it sold $725 million in its first 3 days. Now, however, right, because that sounds impressive, doesn't it?
That's very impressive.
But what?
I mean, any movie property would be overjoyed with that, wouldn't they?
Yeah, well, most of them don't even hit that, even the big films. However, this is funny because this is actually Rockstar going up against their own title and bending it so that it sounds better than it is, right? Because the only other property that is the best-selling media property of all time is Grand Theft Auto 5, right? I don't know the figures off the top of my head now, but it's ridiculous amounts of money that game has made, 5 billion plus. This is actually, they've twisted this because this says opening weekend. Grand Theft Auto 5 actually beat this, but it came out on a Tuesday. So they actually used the Tuesday to Thursday, I think it is, for GTA 5. And it took more. I'm not sure exactly how much. But, I mean, that sounds great, 725 million. But Rockstar made more with their last game. So this game's going to make big. It's going to be there for years to come. I think when we see the next gen of consoles, this will be ported over to that.
It has to.
Akin to GTA 5. And what's happened with this one. Because, I mean, this is the first game that Rockstar have developed for the next gen systems, and is probably going to be their last one, I think, of this caliber. I should imagine GTA 6 is being made for the next gen, which is mooted for 2020 at this point. So there are a couple of other games that Rockstar have in progress that we're going to hear about and that could come out, and they'll come out on this system. But obviously this is their staples, isn't it? These are their landmarks, GTA and Red Dead, and we won't get GTA 6 until next gen now. So this will be their big thing. This will bring in their bucks, and the stuff I've seen from it so far is phenomenal. It's shattering. It's beautiful. I don't know if you've seen any screenshots.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a lot of the sort of fire effects in this game, which are just truly staggering. And I mean, I saw some online gaming when I saw this guy, and he set a barn on fire, and it was just incredible. It was so realistic. It's actually almost too realistic in places. Some of the shots. It's a stunning, beautiful game, and I can't wait to buy it. It's definitely on my. I'm gonna pick this up at Christmas. Yeah. I think.
I saw a video of someone had posted, and it was a bear attack. So their character was walking through the wilderness, and a bear attacked them. It was horrific. We're talking full on. What's that film with DiCaprio in it. Yeah, The Revenant. It was
Revenant,
full on bear attack. It's got him on the floor and he was by it. It was horrible, and it's so realistic until the point where he shot the bear and got up and walked away and limped a bit and then stood up and he was fine. But that's games for you, isn't it? You got to have some.
Well, I said I've got a friend who has been playing it a lot, and they just like to murder owls for some reason. I'm fed up. I'm going to go and murder a load of animals, and owls seem to be their favourite target, and I don't really know why owls had to suffer.
You've got to stop hanging around with sociopaths, mate. I think it's the.
But I'll do this podcast. What can I do?
Yeah, true. Fair point.
What I think about Red Dead is that it has one of the best stories in the entire kind of medium, and if you're actually take your time to sort of really interact with all the camp members that you got around and do some of the stranger missions and explore the world for Easter eggs that you'll see, just kind of how insane that the game is and how much depth it has. I mean, Rockstar have done such an incredible job. I think it's taken 8 years, hasn't it, now to sort of create and make this game. And this is the sort of probably one of those sort of gaming stories as well that can actually pass as a very high quality TV show, I think. Do you know what I think? I mean,
yeah, there's definite room for it. Because the thing is with Red Dead as well. I mean, there is a overarching story, isn't there, between them all with John Marston and references to other characters. But there's the whole Wild West to explore here. I mean, if Rockstar wanted to bring this out as a TV show, I'm sure they could sell the rights to someone like Amazon or Netflix who'd snap them up in a heartbeat. But this has definitely got more leeway to become a TV show or a film, whereas GTA doesn't, in my eyes. GTA is far too much of an open world. There is the story, but that's not what people play it for a lot of the time, especially now. I mean, this game, GTA 5, has sat on the GDP top lists of games for, it came out in 2013. So we're talking 5 years, this game now, and it still sits there in the top of the charts some weeks. And up until the start of this year, it was still number one on the charts for most best-selling games week and month in, month out. And that's crazy. I mean, you get it with things like Minecraft and stuff because of the reach it has for players, but there is no room for storytelling, external storytelling with GTA, I don't believe, because the story, you play through it to unlock the map and the characters and et cetera, but I just play it to sandbox and have fun or online. Whereas Red Dead's got, it's a solid contained story. And I know there's a lot more to do in that world, but I think that's what sells that game more than anything.
Absolutely, yeah. We've had some little Star Wars news as well, or is it news?
Yeah, I mean, there's this... I saw this story, and it was about JJ saying that the episode 9 is being looked at as a course correction for the Star Wars saga. Now, I can't find any. I've gone back to this story now, and I can't find any kind of source for this or where it originally come from. I know it's on a few reputable sites, so I don't think it's any of that Mike Zero nonsense flying about. But at the same token, I don't think, for me, it matters. And I'm sure you two probably feel quite similar in that. I mean, them saying that makes me think we didn't need course correcting.
Now, are we talking the course of the storyline? So, for example, where to some degree Last Jedi veered off, he's trying to bring it back into the line of where he was taking from The Force Awakens going forward?
No, it actually kind of references Solo more than it does
I'm reading it at the moment. What it's saying is that it wants to basically get the film back to making $1 billion.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's the course correction is probably is some sort of like, directors meeting, and they're sitting around the board table talking about it, going, we need to course correct this. And that's where this has come from and been, changed and manipulated to its meaning as it comes down to sort of publication and press. And to me, it just seems like I don't need it to be course corrected. As far as I'm concerned, Star Wars is doing absolutely fine, so I'm cool with that. And if why do we need to mention this? Because in my eyes, it's fine. There is some missteps, and yeah, I'd like some loose ends tied up, and people are obviously worried that JJ's bringing out all these new planets and aliens, etc., and we haven't yet dealt with a lot of the story arcs of some of the other characters that were underused in the last film, because there was underuse. We can all agree on that to some, like I think it was Rob Wade put it quite eloquently about the fact that we was missing out story arcs for this person and that person, but yeah, apparently and they had to cut the film down from 2 hours 40, but apparently we had enough time to watch them milking a big sea cow. And I get those comparisons, like it's
we got a holdo from out of nowhere. We got, what actually happened to Akbar. We've got, we didn't get enough of Phasma. We didn't get perhaps as much Snoke as we needed. But I think this just sounds like a board meeting that has leaked, if there is any leak. And it's not sort of, as you say, not really the kind of information that we need. We had, obviously, Kathleen Kennedy come out and say that the Boba Fett movie is on hold. Well,
what Boba Fett movie?
Exactly. So, what we do have is going to be 7 or 8 rather, very long movie length episodes of The Mandalorian, and that's good enough. If not,
what a shame.
We need. Yeah, exactly.
So we're not getting a 2-hour film. We're getting 13 hours of film.
That's right.
No, okay. What a shame. We're going to have to tell a story over that amount of time rather than condense it down and miss out.
That's the thing, isn't it? That they say, oh no, we can't make a movie for how long, no one will watch it. But if you make 13 episodes an hour long, you will sit there from 9 in the morning to 9 at night and watch the whole lot. But you won't sit there and watch a 3-hour movie.
Yeah. This is the sort of series as well that is going to get a lot of people signing up to this Disney service as well, and that is the most important thing for Disney. The one thing we got really incredible about this series forthcoming is the quality of the directors, and that's got to be better than a 2-hour potential movie that we were never really going to get, because it was all down to really, what was it down to? I mean, this Boba Fett film, it was just fabrication, really, wasn't it?
Well, there wasn't a Boba Fett film. There never was. I'll be honest with you. I think this comes from back to last year, when they've obviously made the plans to do this streaming service and go ahead with it, and they've announced it to the world. I can tell you, I honestly believe that all of these decisions were made then for the future of the films, and they've spent the last year sitting on the information, seeing how people react to stuff, seeing what people are, beating about on the internet, and what people are whispering about and trending over Star Wars, and they take all of that information in, and they're going to sit there and go, what are we going to make here? What can we do? What can we sell to people that they obviously want? And you say Boba Fett movie, and we hear it in our circles all the time. People say, Boba Fett movie. And actually, the voice I hear loudest out of all of that is, again, we don't really need that. I'd want something else. Right? And that's the voice I hear a lot. And I'm kind of on the fence with it, because I'm one of these where more Star Wars is great. I don't care what it is. Same time, like Solo, I said it to you. The only reason why I wasn't excited, because we didn't really need it. But I tell you what, I watched it. It was really good. And that's all that matters. Whether or not we needed it or not, they made it and I enjoyed it. And that's all that, it's not up to us as fans. But they're taking that feedback, I think, from all of this last year of people knowing there's a streaming service coming and going, what do they want? What can we throw on this streaming service, Star Wars? As soon as they hear enough about Clone Wars, boom, there it is. Clone Wars is back for another series to finish it off on the streaming service. That's just brought in a massive demographic of people to that subscription. Then, right, okay, Boba Fett movie, people are talking about it a lot. Right, make The Mandalorian. And then they come out, boom, cancelled Boba Fett. You've just got a load of people that are interested in Mandalorians jumping onto this streaming service now. Right? And correct me if I'm being, like I should put my tinfoil hat on or anything here, but it just seems to me that every decision of things that people want seems to be reverting back to this streaming service. Now, I wouldn't be surprised that if in 6 months, is it D23, D24, whatever they call it, in 6 months' time, or even next year at Celebration, Ewan McGregor walks out on that stage and we get an Obi-Wan series. a mini series, a 3-shot, 3-hour long one, 3 episodes, hour long each, of Obi-Wan Kenobi with Ewan McGregor in it, and he'll come out on stage with that. Boom, that'll go straight onto the streaming service. Then what happened there is it'll cover up anything to do with him turning up at a film studio. If he's in episode 9 next year, that's why. Because he was doing the TV series.
That's right.
And it covers things like that up. And I mean, it's my tinfoil hat, and none of this is real, and it's just all hyperbole. But I just see everything reverts back to this streaming service. This is where they're going to lay all their cards on the table, because we see it with Netflix, we see it with Amazon. That is the future of people's viewing. That's how we're going to consume media for the future. I am someone that, up until recently, I just wanted discs for everything. I want physical media. But actually, I don't care anymore, and I hardly own anything physical. I only have one Star Wars film on DVD, and that's the Force Blu-ray, and that's the Force Awakens.
I picked up today the Battlestar Galactica original series, a beautiful 7-disc set. Now, when this comes out, The Mandalorian, who isn't going to want that on hard copy? Who isn't going to want to go into the shop and pick that up?
And you, mate. I know you don't really, do you? You don't have many physical copies of stuff.
I have many physical copies, but not in the recent years because of lack of storage space.
Right, okay. Then that's
why. I definitely will. I will definitely 100%.
I want them. I would, if I could put them somewhere, I would have all of them.
Right.
Because I love to look at them and bathe in their glory.
Stack them vertically. Just stack them vertically.
So going back to this article,
build a false wall
in front of me.
Yeah.
The article is from Variety, and it states it's vital for the viewers to be cognizant of what exactly Lucasfilm is attempting to correct here. Abrams has already stated the Last Jedi backlash will not influence his creative decisions on Episode 9. So right now, it doesn't look like the sequel trilogy finale will play as a knee-jerk reaction to the polarising Last Jedi debate. Instead, Lucasfilm is positioning Episode 9 as the antithesis to Solo, which should be easy to accomplish. The spin-off's biggest problem, besides the reshoots, were its competitive release dates and lackluster marketing campaign. Episode 9 is open over the holidays in 2019, in similar windows to The Force Awakens, Last Jedi and Rogue One. Going by the box office results of these films, Disney is looking at another member of the $1 billion club. The company's marketing department will also be out full force, generating hype with a prolonged campaign that spans months instead of squeezing everything into a short period of time. So that's what they're doing. They're going to let everyone know it's coming.
I'll take everything back I said about them listening to what people say online, because that to me is crazy. If they're basing this off the course correction because of Solo, then you're right. It's a business standpoint and not film. Right, that's all it is. Because if they're talking about movie-wise, I've seen more backlash online about Episode 8 than I ever saw of Solo. Everyone I know that saw Solo enjoyed it. I hardly see anything negative about that movie. So from a fan standpoint, it was well received. The only issue is the business side of it was the lackluster marketing and the release date. That was all wrong. Christmas and more marketing. I mean, as Black Series collectors and people that do the toys, all of us here, I have seen about 2 Black Series figures in a shelf in store.
Well, we went out today. We went out today, and we went to a toy store, and the pegs were full of Black Series, and I don't think they'd moved since the last time I went in there, which was about 3 weeks ago.
And how many was for Solo?
There was just Han himself, just the young Han himself in there.
Exactly my point.
That was it.
Exactly my point.
There was Maz Kanata's. There was, I think, at least 5 or 6 AT-AT drivers and some Hoth snowtroopers. There was plenty of those. There was just the Solo himself figure. I don't even think it was a Lando there. But look, it's all down to money at the end of the day, and this is that drives everything forward. Without the money coming in, it's business. This was a business decision. I think the most exciting thing still that we have. We're all, we're Game of Thrones fans here, and Benioff and Wise are, I think, the most exciting thing that they announced from Lucasfilm and Disney with their trilogy movies, regardless of what Episode 8 director had done. This is all down, I think. down to these guys. I think these guys are going to bring something really very exciting to the Star Wars universe.
Well, I hope so, mate.
I think that's what's most exciting. Other news this week.
We've got Game of Thrones news. Talking of Benioff and Weiss, I was going to try and segue there. It would have been much better.
I did it.
But Naomi Watts has been cast in the lead role for the upcoming spin-off series.
Now, Naomi Watts is from my neck of the woods. She's from sunny Shoreham by sea.
Is she? I thought she was Australian. That's just ruined everything I've ever known about Naomi Watts. That has.
Well, if
limited knowledge.
If she was Australian, she did live in East Sussex. 1 second, yeah. There we are. Naomi Ellen Watts was born on September the 28th, 1968, in Shoreham, England.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, so
she did live out there because she was in Home and Away. So there you go. There's the confusion. Right.
So, give us some news on this. So, do we have any idea of what's happening?
Mate, I'd love to be able to tell you the news, but I only screenshotted the article.
From what I do know, this is the prequel stuff, isn't it? I think.
Yes, well, it's the spin-off, isn't it? I mean, whether you call it a prequel or not, it's a spin-off. It's lore, isn't it? It's like expanding on anything in the Tolkien universe that it's just gonna reference other things that we will know in the future, essentially, with this. But I don't think it's going to be a direct prequel, as it were. But
it could. What would really, really boost this even more so is if she invites her best friend Nicole Kidman into the mix. I can see her as some kind of.
Do you think Kidman would do TV?
Oh, I think she would, and I think she'd be fantastic in it.
Oh, she'd be fantastic. She's good in everything.
I'd like to see Edward Norton as well in a Game of Thrones.
Oh, here you go. One theory of Naomi Watts is, and this is on Screen Rant, is that she'll be playing the first Lannister. So,
right.
I mean, again, this is going back to my point about tying it in. I think that's all we're going to get is names, houses, and references to things that, you know, we've heard from Game of Thrones. We'll probably see it on screen, and things we'll reference in this that you'll see on Game of Thrones in the future, essentially. But yeah, I'm all in. Any more Game of Thrones for me is good.
She's got a lead role, and that's a fantastic thing.
Yeah.
Now, I hear that Christmas time is not just a time for tucking into turkey, but it's also for sweets. And you posted this to me earlier on about John Lewis and Partners are creating something rather special when it comes to Quality Street, which is a very well-known confectionery in this country.
It's glorious, mate. They've got one in the shopping centre near me. It is a create your own tin, and it's a pick and mix. So you get the tin, you get your normal sized Quality Street tin, and it has all the different flavours in individual truckle things, you know, and you just get this little scoop and you pour it into your tin. You can fill it up. So if you want, you can go and do a whole tin of strawberry creams. Do you want to know the damage?
No. Damage. So the average tin usually is so the usual tin price is what, £7, £8, £9?
No, not that, mate. They're in Asda, aren't they? For about £4.
Okay,
yeah, £4 or £5.
Right. So let's say £4 or £5 for a tin.
Drum roll, price £15.
Right. Okay.
So I don't know if it's actually cheaper to just buy when they're in two for £8.
Now,
buy 4 tins.
Is this to fill the tin up until you can just about get the lid on?
I don't know. I haven't tried it yet. I will probably go get one, to be honest with you.
I will fill a whole tub up with orange and strawberry creams.
Oh,
yeah,
that's me.
Well, the thing is, I mean, I'd just leave out a few, but for me, it's the purple hazelnut ones.
Yeah.
The caramel hazelnut, I like them.
Those little
strawberry creams, I don't know what they taste like because I'm not allowed them. If we open a tin in my house and I take one out, I have to sleep on the sofa for the night. So they stay in the tin. And
the little blue triangle ones, the little green triangle ones.
Oh, mate.
They're good.
Yeah, but
what about the penny toffee?
I can't eat them with my teeth now, mate.
Yeah, they're a tough one, aren't they? Yeah. No, mate, I'm not with you. I'm not coming around your house, Jeremy, with those. Just got a whole tin of those creams.
I'm going around now.
Are you?
You're not. Adam can come round, but you're not. Adam won't touch him. I'll be all right.
He just doesn't want me to come round and have his cream in my mouth. That's all.
That's right.
Family show. Right. Okay. So yeah, that's just a bit of fun news, really. But I do remember back when a tin of Quality Street was actually, a sizable thing, and you can just fit it in a small brown bag. But yeah. So the other thing,
we're very lucky in this country because I certainly do know the American sweet market, and they don't have anything like that in the States. Their chocolate, I'm sorry, US and Canadian listeners, but Hershey's is not chocolate.
It's just brown sugar.
It's not chocolate. If you don't, I mean, okay, we've got Cadbury's, which is, so well known in this country, and when you do try Cadbury's, you're getting real chocolate. Nestle obviously bought Roundtree's, and of course, I think this is now who owns Quality Street. Is that right?
Mm. But yeah,
it's good chocolate.
I just want to point out before the Americans get very defensive, right? Because they will, because they're American. That wasn't another pop at them either. But you have bad chocolate, that's fine. But you do have cherry Dr. Pepper, and you do have vanilla Dr. Pepper. So these are things we haven't got, and you've got that. So hold on to
You're the world leader.
Today, you do realise that our two daughters bought Hershey's cookies and cream today, and they said it's the best chocolate they've ever had.
Well, they are misjudged and misled, and
they don't like any of the other Hershey's, just the cookies and cream.
Nah.
I'd love to tell you what it's like, but they ate it all, and we didn't get any.
I've had it. It's okay. It's just not dairy milk, mate.
It's not.
I'm not bothered about chocolate.
It's not Whisper Pieces or Whisper Bites. Yeah. It's not.
I like a good bit of chocolate, but for me, it all falls down with things. I've got a whole apple pie over there that only just finished cooking as we started recording. My kitchen smells amazing, and I can't wait to get off and go and eat it, to be honest with you. But that's where I fall down, and I could probably sit and eat that whole thing in one go if I wanted to. But yeah, American chocolate's not great, but they've got a lot of other things. Right, anyway, on to the next news, and this actually broke, I think it was yesterday. Any interest in Avatar, the two of you? Did you enjoy it when you saw
absolutely.
it? Yeah. Okay. Well, the 4 sequels are now titled.
Oh, fantastic!
So we have Avatar: The Way of Water, Avatar: The Seed Bearer, Avatar: The Tolkien Rider, and Avatar: The Quest for Awa.
Right.
Mm. So what does that say to you? Because that to me says semi-reboot. Because each one of those has a alternate name, like an additional, a hyphenated name, whereas the original doesn't. So do you think he's going all out with this kind of soft rebooting it from within?
Well, Star Wars was just Star Wars when it came out, wasn't it?
It was. Do you think he'll rename that then?
What, episode 1?
Well, no, Avatar, but to call it something else.
They don't give me those names. I've just been thinking, about them. The Seed Bearer doesn't excite me. What was the other one? World of Water or something?
The Way of Water. Now, that does make sense because there's been a lot of talk about this next film being set mostly on and under the sea of Pandora.
Would stunning.
Exactly, and that's what he said. I mean, it was the whole George Lucas thing of he didn't have the technology at the time to do what he wanted to do. He wanted to explore more of the ocean of Pandora. Yeah. And I'm all in for that because what we got from the trees and the floating mountains and all of that was absolutely gorgeous.
And it got mostly destroyed.
Yeah, and this so the Way of Water, maybe they've moved on to the water and that's how they're staying safe. Then we've got the Seed Bearer, so I don't know whether this has anything to do with the fact that the tree came down in Avatar, their sacred tree came down, didn't it? So maybe they're sort of found some magical place with a new tree to the Tolkien Rider. So I'm assuming that's
the Tolkien Rider or Token Rider.
Tolkien, Tulkun. I'm assuming that's one of the flying birds that Sully took over and managed to ride. And then the Quest for Awa. Now it's quite a cheesy name. I understand what they're going with there because Awa is obviously the living, breathing force of the planet. It's Gaia, isn't it? It's their version of Gaia. And you know, we hear about Awa through Avatar, and they talk about it, and they're praying to the tree and you know, the network, as it were. So obviously, but it's just a bit cheesy. I don't really. I mean, are they working titles? Are they just to associate differently when they're talking about it? I don't know, but I don't. Let's be honest. Does it matter what they're called? It could have been Star Wars Episode 7, the turd flops or whatever, and you'd still go and pay your money and go and sit and watch it, wouldn't you? Go, it's a bit of a crap name, but it was a great film. So what?
I think to go and see these new films anyway. So it doesn't matter what they're called. I think we're all going to go and check out just to have a look at what these films look like.
Weird,
I mean,
how many times did you see it,
it's for the visuals, though. You're only going to watch it for the visuals. Do you know?
No,
because it's a brilliant movie.
That's
I loved it. I loved it. It's Dances with Wolves and it's Fern Gully, and I love both of those movies. And I saw this. And how many times did you see it at the cinema, Jeremy?
3 or 4 myself.
Once. How many? Sorry.
3 or 4 myself.
3 or 4. See,
yeah, I think
with me,
first showing was literally go in, saw it, came out. Do we have enough time to go and see it again? And my sort of ex-brother-in-law and myself went back in and watched it again straight away. That's how good it was. Both in 3D.
I watched this 6 times at the cinema. Now, to put that into context, I saw Solo once. I saw Rogue One. No, I saw Solo twice at the cinema. I saw Rogue One once. I saw Force Awakens twice. And I saw Last Jedi twice. And I saw this film 6 times at the cinema. And this is part of the reason why it's the biggest grossing film of all time. And things like Infinity War and that don't touch
you.
it. Well, no, not people. Me. Well, but also it's to do with, you know, the reasons why to go back to see it. Now, I went to see Last Jedi twice because I needed to see that twice. Same as Solo, and there was a few other films that I do see twice at cinema because I need to. With this, why other films don't make it is because this was re-released within 2 years several times. In different formats. Now, I went to see this in 2D first because I don't do 3D. And I thought to myself, I need to see this in 2D before I judge it. Went to watch it, loved it. Then I went to watch it in standard 3D and someone said to me, no, you should go watch it in IMAX. So I was like, okay. I went with my dad and I watched it in IMAX. And I was blown away by the 3D in this movie that I went back to see it again and then again and again in different formats. And this was because it was released like this and that. And, you know, James Cameron brought it out a couple of times. And if they did that with Infinity War, and I tell you now, if they re-released Infinity War with one deleted scene that's 2 minutes long in it, that film would almost do half of its money again.
My most watched
up there.
Blu-ray is Avatar Extended Cut. It's my most watched Blu-ray. It's the one Blu-ray that if I've got the time, I'll whack it on. I mean, Blade Runner 2049 is a long film. This is a long film. I would choose the long extended version of Avatar over any of the extended copies of Lord of the Rings.
Jeremy, because you're not into this conversation, do you want to go get Steve, formerly of Talk Star Wars, on? Because I know he'll love this conversation.
I don't have a problem with Avatar. Avatar is a perfectly fine film. And I just think it's more, again, in 2D, you're just as good watching, Fern Gully or Dance Wolves, you're right, which are probably films that in 20 years' time, you'll be able to watch and not go, oh my God, look at the effects on that. Because I find that if I watch Avatar now, when I watched it in the cinema in 3D, I was completely blown away. And it's the best, without a doubt, cinematic experience I've ever had in my life, because it was like, this is life-changing. You can never go back from that. From that point on, all other 3D was rubbish. And there was this. But when you watch it now, it's like watching, an episode of Doctor Who, with the effects don't hold up. Yeah. And I think that it's going to date. And I think that without the stunning 3D, I mean, the 3D was incredible. The acting is all really good. And again, I think that the actors that are all caught with the motion capture don't get the recognition that they deserve, because they were fantastic. But I just don't think that it holds up as a quotable film that you can keep going back to. It's a good film.
It's not a quotable film. But I think in terms of the best
I see
3D
you.
movie we've ever seen, Tron Legacy and Avatar are astounding,
Metron looked brilliant.
and they are beautiful looking, both of those films.
It does worry me. That is one of my one things. You've just kind of hit the nail on the head with my only concern with the Avatar sequels is they are not going to replicate that success, and I think Cameron might be banking on that. And I did see someone mention this, that a post on one thread about this was they found it slightly. Now they said James Cameron has earned every right to make whatever the hell he wants over the years, and that's true. Like, if that guy wants to make a movie, you let him make a movie and you trust him for it. It's just a shame that we've got James Cameron tied up for the next so many years doing this when he could be doing other things. And that's not a mark against Avatar, because I want to see more of them, but they're not going to replicate that success, because the whole success was built on that. Exactly right. The visuals, the replayability of that, going and sitting in different formats. It's a great film. It's not one of the best films ever made, even though the numbers say it is. And I worry that this one is going to come out, the next one, and it's going to do half the money. And they're banking on it doing a lot more, and then maybe we don't get the others, and James Cameron pulls the plug and turns around and goes, it's not 4, it's 2 movies, and condenses it all down to get it out and out the door. I don't know how that's going to play out, but it's my only concern with it is that he's riding on this is going to be a lot more than what it is.
For those that are sitting on the fence about another mainline franchise and spin-off sequel, there has been a fan screening of Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald. I'm not up to scratch with these two films, nor am I up to scratch with the Harry Potter films. But this is important to note that this was a fan screening, and it was actually at the Universal Studios in Hollywood, so this could be slightly biased. Now, guys, have you seen the first movie, Fantastic Beasts?
I'll let you go first, Jeremy. Yeah.
I have seen Fantastic Beasts. I rewatched it fairly recently with the children, because the new one's coming up and I'm bound to watch it no matter what. It's an okay movie. The Harry Potter films are fun. They're not. They don't have an impact on me the same way as Star Wars or many other franchises. If they're on telly, I watch them. I have them all on DVD, and by far, Fantastic Beasts is the worst out of all of them.
Right. The reaction so far of this film, and I'm just going to go over this before I ask you, Andy, is that most of the reactions point towards Johnny Depp's performance as Grindelwald, and particularly as the high point was that others praised the story having many sort of unexpected moments and a very strong ending. Others found it particularly dark and a major improvement over the original Fantastic Beasts film. All viewers were asked to keep their spoilers and details to a minimum. However, many tweeted out that their reactions were of the darker nature. Now, Andy, do you think that this particular sequel is geared towards now the older fan, of which you are one of those?
Right. I've just put a minute on my timer here because I don't want to overrun, because if you let me go, I'm going to be off like a little spinny toy, right, for hours here. Right, so go. Right. I hated Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. I live, breathe, and die Harry Potter. We do in this house. We love it. I adore it. I have read those books so many times over. I listened to the audio books read by Stephen Fry. I could probably tell you intricate story points about Harry Potter that, like you with the A-Team, Jeremy, is me with Harry Potter. Right? It's ridiculous. I did not like this. It is akin to when I said we didn't need Solo. Very nice. Harry, I've got that one. We didn't need Solo. We didn't need Rogue One, but they made them. They were good. I now enjoyed them. This is what this was for the Harry Potter world, but they dropped the ball. There is so much more they could have gone story-wise with this. For me, in the Harry Potter, the Wizarding world, they could have explored so many more avenues, and this is what we got, and it really upsets me. I thought Eddie Redmayne was not very good. I'm not looking forward to seeing Johnny Depp in this movie, and I'm not in. Minute done. Boom.
Well, I've got a couple of tweets that people have written out here. Fantastic Beasts and Crimes of Grindelwald is a magical must-see. It builds up on the original and is sure to delight Harry Potter fans. Remarkable visuals, engaging story, and an ending that leaves you speechless. Johnny Depp as Grindelwald perfection. But the next one, Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald, is an erratic and overstuffed mess. Most egregious fan service since Gandalf battled the Nine in The Hobbit. This is Rowling's sloppiest and probably worst written story. Few sequels inside, this is one dead hippogriff.
Now, that's
some... Has all the telltale signs of a butcher job in editing. We entered scenes too late and exited too early, sucking any sense of place right out of the movie. So,
this is my problem. There's such a rich tapestry of storytelling to be told in the Wizarding World, and I mean, I saw a post earlier. Someone said they would love to see a what's his name, the Australian fellow that unfortunately died with the stingray. What's his name?
Steve Irwin.
Steve Irwin. They want to see a Hagrid style Steve Irwin show, right? A Hagrid Steve Irwin style show, Fantastic Beasts with Hagrid talking about, oh crikey, look at this dragon, and that'd be fun as a little TV series or a one shot and things like. There is so many things they could have done with the Harry Potter Wizarding World, and we get this. I mean, the name even. I think they dropped the ball with that. They released Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them because they based it off of the book. That's that small almanac that came out as I think it was a charity book that they bought out. And you've based it on that and you've called it Fantastic. That's fine, okay, but just do that film. But then you bring out Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them: The Crimes of Grindelwald. I mean, geez, man, is there any more words in that title? It's ridiculous. And the Fantastic Beasts bit, just drop that. The Crimes of Grindelwald. Don't call it the Wizarding World, which they have done. They've seemed to rebranded this recently. I don't know if you saw the premiere carpet, but they've got this new logo with wands like in the arch, and it's got the Wizarding World over the red carpet. So they've rebranded this a lot lately. I don't know if you saw it when you was walking around. The toys for the Harry Potter stuff for Christmas has got a lot of this branding that says the Wizarding World on it, and that's fine, and I'm cool with that. But that's where they should have gone. And if you were going to do another a long story, I don't know why they went with this. Newt Scamander and young Albus Dumbledore, and it's kind of played into the hand. I mean, obviously what they've done is played into the hands of the fans and given them stuff that they, that's familiar and easy to get on with. And I just wish we'd had so much more. I really do. And Redmayne just klutzy in it. It was weird, his performance. And I didn't like, who's the Dan Fogler? I usually love him. Didn't enjoy him in this movie as well. And I fell asleep during this at the cinema. That's how bored I was. And I should have been one of the ones that was there opening night, jumping up and down for it. And there's nothing pulling me into this other one.
I'll tell you my favourite thing about it was the cakes at the end. I wanted to eat all of them.
I don't even remember it, mate. And the whole Johnny Depp surprise as well, that was ruined. I mean, I knew he was in the film, and I put two and two together. By the last 5 minutes I hadn't seen Johnny Depp, I kind of figured what was going on, and it was just one of them. It's really let down by it. And I'll watch the second one because I feel as a fan you have to give these things a chance. I might go in and go, that is made up for a lot of mistakes that the last one did.
It looks better, doesn't it? It's got Hogwarts in it at least.
It does. I just don't like Johnny Depp either.
No.
Really overrated. And then that's a controversial point. He's done some great films. Fear and Loathing, absolutely adore that. His performance in it is staggering, but he's just a carbon copy of Jack Sparrow now. Anything he does is Johnny Depp playing Jack Sparrow playing a character. Yeah, all the crazy, exactly, savvy and all that. And he just always seems to do that same thing now, and it really bothers me. And if that's what you're pegging it on, I love Jude Law, and cool, Dumbledore, that's fine, but it's not drawing me in. I don't need to know about Dumbledore as a teenager. It's the whole Boba Fett thing that people say. I like the mystery. When we got the small story of his sister and his brother, it was great.
But that's what going back to the pointless prequel stuff. That's what. Sorry, Adam. What I dislike about the whole Alien prequels. I don't want to know all that. It's the same as the Harry Potter, you don't need to know
Moving
Dumbledore's youth. I've gone straight back to Harry Potter. You're okay. You don't need to know about
No, you're right.
Dumbledore.
And this is it. Some things land.
It ruins it for you.
Yeah, some things land. The Solo and Rogue One landed, and I don't know how they did it, but they did. But some things don't, and you're right. I mean, I like the Prometheus and that. They're not great. They're non-comparable to Alien.
Moving swiftly on.
But it's just some things you don't need to know. I think that's where you are with the Johnny Depp. I think Freddie noticed that he's got the Elder Wand. I mean, it may or not be true because I haven't studied the trailer too much, and there might be something in that we're going to learn. But I'll watch it, but only because if I had to pay £10 to go and watch it, I wouldn't.
No, I see. That's what I won't do. I'll try and get some free tickets off someone I know, or I'll wait for it to be available on certain streaming devices.
I've got my unlimited card and I can go watch any old rubbish.
I reckon if I put on a fake beard, I could probably pass this year if I tried, and some Eddie glasses.
Hey, look, no, I normally don't wear the glasses.
Oh, there you go. Right.
This particular date next year, June 21st, 2019, is going to bring us Toy Story 4. Now, Tom Hanks, as we know, plays the wonderful Woody, and he was on the Chris Evans show, not Captain America, Chris Evans, the English radio DJ, and he was on his breakfast show, and he was talking and recalling about the final day of recording. And I actually, when I heard this and when I read this, it really choked me up, because Toy Story 3 has just some of the most sentimental feelings of a film, and it's anyway. I'm going to move on because I'll start tearing up. Tom Hanks said that during the reading for Toy Story 4, it was so intense that he didn't actually want to face the crew while he recorded his lines. He said it was the first time that we were going to be recording the end of the movie, and Toy Story 4 is going to have an impactful ending, he said. The way you record Toy Story, you're in a room with the team that's created it, and when I went in for my last day recording, I wanted to have my back to them, because usually you're facing the crew. So he decided that he couldn't look right up at them, and he had to have his back to them and pretend that they couldn't see me, because he obviously realised that what he was reading was extremely sentimental. And he also said that he recognised that this was going to be a true moment in film history. Hank's sentiments reflect the co-star Tim Allen, who also said earlier in the year that he couldn't even get through the last scene of the film.
That bad?
Oh my God. Now, this little franchise of films, I don't think you can choose between any of the three that we have.
You can shake your head all you want, Jeremy. It just shows you have no heart.
Well, exactly. I was thinking to myself, I am a heartless so-and-so. Because I watched Toy Story 3 and everyone's going, so you cry. And I was like, what am I supposed to cry at? I don't get it.
Listen, you cannot choose between the three of these films which one is greater than the next.
Number one. There you go. I just did.
Now you watch one doesn't look so good, but it has all the right elements.
Two's not as good. Two's the weakest of the three, easily.
I don't agree with that. I think all three are just amazing, and if there's just a point difference, I would give them all 9.5, 10, 9.5. They're so close together, but from what these guys are saying, how this film's going to be, I think we're going to have to take a box of Kleenex in to the cinema with us, guys. I think this is
have a different effect on you than on me.
So. Anyway, we also have to choose.
I don't get it. I don't get the Toy Story thing.
Moving on, because I'm not gonna go there with that stuff, mate. I know you've got.
It doesn't make me cry.
If it doesn't, no. We were talking today, and I said, if you watch all of these horror films that we were looking at in HMV, all of those, I said you'd have to go to
from there.
mental asylum, and you said I'd be fine.
I'm going to stand outside your house later and punch a puppy, see if it has any effect on you.
You can try, but I've already punched it.
18 years ago, Ridley Scott made his fantastic movie Gladiator, which was 18 years ago. And can you believe that? That was 28 years ago that we had Toy Story. 1995, is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
I remember going to see that at cinema. My dad took me. It was a very rare occasion because me and him didn't really... I got on with him. He was my dad. I had to. But, we didn't really do much together. And he took me to UCI over in Thurrock to watch that. And I remember him buying me a Baskins and Robbins and watching Toy Story. Yeah.
Wow.
That's really good.
Well, Mr. Scott, Ridley Scott, has said, according to Deadline News, that he wants to direct a sequel with a script from Peter Craig, who co-wrote the final 2 Hunger Games films and the upcoming Top Gun Maverick. He wants to make another Gladiator movie, and due to the original film's ending, Russell Crowe will not be back to star as Maximus Decimus Meridius, his Oscar-winning role. Instead, the new film will reportedly focus on Lucius, the son of Lucilia, who's played by Connie Nelson. There's no word yet on the release date or any casting news, but I think this is rather exciting, mate.
Well, did you ever hear of the original sequel idea?
No.
No, it was, I can't remember the ins and outs of it, but I think it was somewhere along the lines of it went a bit more supernatural and mythical, where he dies but then comes back. I think it was set somewhere in the future, and
and the engineers are there.
It's Ridley Scott in it through and through. Yeah, maybe it was he was going to link it into Alien. That's what he's going to.
It's one big universe. It's all canon.
That's it, isn't it? Alien versus Predator versus Maximus.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are brilliant in an arena.
One of the wonderful things about this film was that it grossed 460 million worldwide. It won 5 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, and Ridley Scott was nominated for Best Director and didn't win that. And I think that's a great shame because it was a beautifully directed film.
Mate, it's up there in my favourite films of all time. I'm sure I haven't mentioned it in the list or it was in my fluid top 10. Gladiator is a masterpiece of film. Joaquin Phoenix is
superb.
He is. He owns the crap out of that role. Russell Crowe, I'm not a big fan of, but he does well in this. I mean, as well as you need for a bit of muscle with a sword, kicking butt and taking names. And it's just stunning. And the Oliver Stone, the CGI for the recreation of him, flawless. Oliver Reed. Sorry, Oliver Reed. Yeah, I mean, the CGI is... I've watched it recently, and I find it hard to find where they did it.
Did you know it's the guy in the crowd wearing jeans and a T-shirt?
Yeah, because people point it out. You don't notice that stuff unless you look.
You don't notice it until
you
see it on the internet and you're like, oh my God, there's a guy there wearing white T-shirt and a pair of jeans.
Part of one of the races with a chariot, you can see as it rolls over, there's a fire extinguisher canister.
The piston thing,
yeah.
Well, it's like in Ben-Hur, he's wearing a watch. I mean, come on.
You look riding in the background as well. If you look in Ben-Hur, one of the panoramics.
Can I share my Gladiator story with you guys?
Yeah, as long as we're entertained.
I would be glad.
I entered a competition to celebrate the release of the DVD. I entered a competition which was to win a signed copy by Ridley Scott of Gladiator.
All he had to do was fight another 20 men in a ring with a sword.
If only if it was that.
And recreate the Battle of Carthage.
Well, I won.
You won.
I have a region 1, so it's a US, because it was in the States, and I entered that, and I received this signed copy of Gladiator by Ridley Scott.
Very nice.
Yeah, there's my little Gladiator story.
Very nice. This I like, but I don't like. I think more from Ridley Scott in that world and Gladiators and Epic. I'm fine with that. I love watching it, and it's great. You don't need to call it Gladiator. I think that's just trying to put bums on seats using the name more than anything else, mate. If it's got nothing to do with Maximus, he is the Gladiator in my eyes. So
it might just be it might be called Lucius, and then it would be called the next Gladiator or something like that.
That's fine, but I just
Well,
don't want them to play on the Gladiator thing too much and call it a sequel or a prequel or whatever. It's not. He's not in it. It's not the Gladiator, is it? I mean, you can't have. Was it Porthos, wasn't it? That
yeah. I think, to be honest, that although he may well have said that he's very interested in doing so, Ridley's got quite a lot on his plate already. He's got quite a lot of other little bits and pieces going on, including the third film of the prequels for Alien. And until we sort of hear any more news that's more definite, this is still just another one of those little rumours.
Well, it's one of those. It says it's been greenlit, isn't it? I was saying, things get greenlit all the time. Things get picked up all the time, and they sit on a shelf. There's stories my dad always says to me. He laughs and he goes, "You tell me about a film 8 years before it's out," and I'm like, "Yeah, but a lot of the time I tell you about a film that never comes out, and it's because you hear all this, so and so's being made, and then it goes through 6-7 years of development hell before they even start filming it." And
that's right.
We could hear this now, and then we'd never see this movie, or it gets turned into something else. You get that quite often, don't you, where they start one movie and it becomes a completely different entity by the time that's released. We've had, is it Don Quixote comes out, the Terry Gilliam film comes out next year or this year, and I mean that's been made for, I think it's well over a decade now. That film has been mooted for, and it's changed lead actors, characters, story so many times. It's not the film that we had in the first place. So
one film that I was going to ask you if you've seen yet, as I know that you're a fan of Freddie Mercury and Queen, is Bohemian Rhapsody. Have you been to the flicks to go and see that yet?
I haven't, mate, I'm afraid, no.
Well, hurry up, because I'd like to hear what your review of this film is.
If you can give me another 12 to 14 hours in a week spare for me, then we're on.
Right. I've just heard nothing but fantastic reviews from my clients, from friends. They've all said it's absolutely mesmerizing, a terrific performance, and very emotional, and a real tearjerker in places, and it has some great laughs in it. So,
however, that's not what the critics say, is it?
Well, who wants to listen to those guys, really?
I was thinking about the critics thing the other day.
It sounds like a toilet.
I was thinking about the critics thing the other day.
Yeah.
You were saying that you were put off by the critics' view of Predator and things like that, but the critics hated Valerian, and we all love it.
Yeah.
Which is
I understand that, mate, and I said it puts me off. I still watch these things, and I will make up my own decision, but the initial hype factor, I think, is the thing I'm getting at, is where Bohemian Rhapsody, I heard about it. I really want to see it. I'm a massive Queen fan. And then I start seeing review scores, and I'm a little bit like, oh, okay. And then I kind of think, and then I'll still watch it, but that hype's gone. I don't rush out to go watch it.
I am going to watch it this week. I'm going to make an effort to get out and watch it this week, and I would let you know during the week what I think of it.
Yeah.
But I hear people I know who've seen it have said nothing but good things.
Yeah, a few films have come out that I've wanted to watch recently, and the only one that I still really am champing at the bit for is Halloween. And that's because I think the positive reviews and people like you, a friend that I talk to about stuff, and you go, you love it, spurs me on to watch it more. Whereas Bohemian Rhapsody, I think people go, oh, it's all right. And I think most films, I'm happy when I wait and watch it anyway. I'll enjoy it when it's free to watch on streaming or whatever. And I think that's where the hype leaves me, is I think, actually, what's the point in going and spending 10 quid tonight on a ticket for it? I'll just wait, because I'm not as invested as I once was. But I'll make my own mind up when I see it. I don't know. It's just put me off a little bit.
Guys, I think that pretty much just wraps up this week's show. If there's anything else to add.
Well, I did send you a picture of my cat as well, because I wanted to talk about how glorious he was.
Right. Okay. Do you want to add that in?
A very beautiful cat.
Does it have any retro connection at all?
He's old.
Quite old, yeah.
Yeah, he's probably 9 or 10 now.
What's your cat's name? His
name is Caspian, or Pantalones, or Captain Baggy Pants. I sometimes call him as well, because from behind he looks like he's wearing those old sort of bloomer pantalones. He's my bro. He's the love of my life. And he's, like I said to you, didn't know he's the most evil of our evil overlords. So you don't own a cat owns you. And he's just beautiful. He's glorious. I might even put a post up.
I can say, as a man who's owned many cats over the years, well, I say owned, You literally never own a cat.
No.
I had a cat I got on my 6th birthday. I went to Cat Protection League because we didn't want to buy one because you should, charity and all that kind of stuff. And there's all these beautiful cats that everyone was, oh, look at that cat, she's beautiful. And this ugly, mangy little black cat come up to me and went, oh, you should be with me. And I took that cat home, and I had her for 26 years. And she died on my bed, 26 years later. And cats are awesome.
Yeah, man. I mean, like him, he's my bro. And the only one that he's evil. He went for an Alsatian out the front of my house once. We had to hold him back. He protects us. People come round and he'll go for them. He's an arse, to put it really
I've
politely.
had cats of many different names, but the strangest cat I've had was called Norman, after Norman Bates, because he was a psycho. He moved in one day. I had all these cats, and I had like half a dozen cats. Most cats kept away. They'd be like, oh, a lot of cats. Let's not argue with them. And this tiny little ginger lunatic just walked into my bedroom one day and jumped up on the bed. Well, where did he come from? It's only a little kitten he was. And all the other cats were like, oh, I'm not arguing with him. And he walked up and did the day and thinking, oh, look at him. He's so cute. He walked up to me, and I was laying there thinking, I'll keep so I don't want to scare him. And he bit me. And I didn't move. He bit me on the arm, and you think, oh, well, he could have stopped in a minute. And he just bit harder and till he was drawing blood, and then he ran off. And he wouldn't go away. Little git that
That's
he was.
good, but he's imprinted on you. And like they say, they choose you, don't they? Like him. He chose me. I'm the only one who can pick him up, cuddle him. I'm horrible to him. We fight. My other cat, she's an idiot. I don't like her. She's weird. Right? She sits there just staring at me and licking herself. It's bizarre. But him, he's my bro. I walk in. He comes up to me. He's the first person. Sometimes I say hello to my wife and daughter, and they don't even respond. He walks up to me, gives me a little nudge, walks me out to his bowl and's like, feed me, human. And I feed him, and then he gives me a little nudge. He's like, right, I'm going out, look after the house, I'll see you later. And I'm like, all right, darling. And that's it. And now he's just staring at me from over the other side of the kitchen, waiting for food. So, yeah, that's my cat. The other one's an idiot, so I don't want to talk about her, though.
Thank you very much for listening to podcasters and their cats. This week's episode. Next week.
Next week,
podcasters
I'll talk about my fish. I have 2 fish as well. We'll get onto them. They're called Dorothy and Stephen.
Really?
Yeah.
Do
Don't
go
trust
to
Stephen,
our
he's worse,
website and check out all our bits and pieces on the Retro Inc. podcast. And if you've just joined us on the Retro Inc. podcast, go to our Facebook page, which is the Retro Inc. Podcast group, and the Retro Inc. podcast page. You can follow us on Twitter at Retro Inc. and Instagram. Jeremy, can they find you anywhere online if they want to give you a little message and take the mickey out of your movies or whatever?
I don't know. You can take the mickey out of my movies. My movies are all perfect.
Of course they are. Where can people find you, Jeremy, online?
I just look up Jeremy Rowling on Twitter. I'm Jeremy at Retro Inc. I believe these days they've changed it. And you can find me on the Retro Inc. page on Facebook, normally saying things that most people go, oh, shut up, you're an idiot. So
Grinder.
Well, only if you know how to search like Andy obviously does.
Well, along with our wonderful podcast, you can listen to many other podcasts on the Commonwealth Network, including Talk Star Wars, Tumbling Saber, Generation X-Wing, The Nerd Room, Rogue Squadron Podcast, Tattoo Sons Podcast, San Diego Sabres Radio Podcast, Less Than 12 Parsecs, Skyhoppers Podcast with Ash and Ben, and that's about all on the network. Thank you very much for listening. We do hope you've enjoyed this week's show. And we look forward to joining you guys next time. Andy, thank you very much.
Be seeing you.
And Jeremy, thank you very much.
Meow.
Bye for now.
Yeah.